we were selling more than Cadbury Dairy Milk in the UK for a good 1 month.
How many bars would you say you guys have crossed by now?
We're well past the 12 million figure. Most of our distributors today don't have a sales target. Your competition is nothing. As long as you believe in your product. Meltz is probably our 7th brand, if I'm honest with you. Sometimes quality doesn't matter. Sometimes it's just the price.
Mohit, thanks a lot for coming on the Shelf to Scale podcast, man. It's great to have you here.
Nice to meet you, Devesh. Thank you for inviting me on.
So you have a really unique background. You've been in trading for God knows how many years, in FMCG trading, and then from there you decided to start your own brand. But maybe let's go back to sort of your trading background. You have a successful FMCG trading business. What was kind of that thought process behind being like, okay, well, I already have a successful business, but we want to go ahead and actually start our own brand per se?
Yeah, it's been different, I would say. When you're FMCG trading, you're dealing with brands that are known, brands that everybody's aware of, that everybody's familiar with. And when we came up with the options of what do we do differently, we consider ourselves to be market disruptors. So we look at, even with the main A brands, whether you look at your Mars, your Snickers, or whatever you look at, whether it's confectionery or personal hygiene, we always look at, in the trading side, where can we get that extra buck from? What can we do differently? Whereas what we came up with as a business, we said, we've been doing trading for the last 15 years. Let's come up with something different. Let's come up with something unique. Let's give the main A brands a run for their money in coming up with new products that resonate with the people. Also, the most important thing is bringing out products that can benefit everybody, that can create a different sort of mindset. It can create a different buzz. Instead of everybody knowing Snickers, I guess when we're kids, right, we know Snickers is always going to be the same. Whether it is 20 years back or today, it's still the same. And I think the lack of innovation is what we looked at to see. Being in the business, there's a lot of innovations we could take on board. And yeah, all that experience came up with different brands. Not to say that this was our first brand. We've done many brands before. And obviously when you do brands, you have to understand a level of risk that's involved in those brands, and what you really bringing to market. Is it going to be something that's going to work? Is it going to something that's just going to be a hit and run, a trend? And I think experience kind of helps us out along the way.
And do you, I guess, feel that because you've had multiple brands before, and then now, of course, you've had Meltz. So do you feel like that FMCG trading background helped in a way? I guess how did that translate on to brand building?
So with regards to Meltz was probably our 7th brand, if I'm honest with you. We've had 6 brands before, and we've had a pretty good track record with all 6 brands where we've sold 1 container and nothing after that, which is pretty much how we've worked. So kind of each brand that we failed in allowed me to understand where did we go wrong, and how do we make the next brand better. But then when the next brand came in, we repeated the same mistake, and it got to the point where we're like, okay, maybe we should not be building brands. Maybe we should just stick to what we're doing best. But when we came up with Meltz, I think there was something different, because international trading there are no boundaries. There are no geographical boundaries. There's no product boundaries. There's nothing there. And I feel with all the efforts that we've put in probably over the last 15 years, the contacts that we made, the people that we've always worked with, I think they've believed in us when it came to Meltz. Meltz was a product that was, again, born behind a viral product, the Dubai chocolate. And like with any innovation, I mean, you can say the Wright brothers made flying possible, Boeing capitalized on it, Airbus made it better. It's similar to what the Meltz story is, that it was already in the market, it was already invented. And what we want to do is make it better, make a difference to our customers, and at the same time ensure that our customers pay less for the product compared to what they should be in what the market is commanding for that particular product. So it was a little bit different. And I think FMCG did help out, because it did help out with the distribution, it helped out with the pricing, and it helped out with understanding what people want, basically.
So I guess, because you said you started, it's a 7th brand now, basically. So the other 6, like, what would you say was, I guess, What was different about Meltz? I mean, what were the reasons why those six didn't work out, but Meltz did? For example, was it a trend? Was it something else? Like, what kind of would you say was, yeah, the reason?
I think it's more experience. I think we learned. To give you an example, we came up with a brand called Okashi. Okashi was our syrups. It was basically a rival to Monin. We were making it in the same factory as 1883 before 1883 became very popular across a lot of the markets. So we thought, and we obviously have always focused on high quality. And I believe where we've gone wrong in a lot of the products that we've made, whether it was the protein powders that we've worked on, the Okashi syrups that we worked on, we even got into the hand sanitizer trend when it was there. I think the issue we came up is we've always been premium in the market, and we've never understood the concept of anything less than premium. Our core focus as a business has always been delivering quality. And we realized maybe after the last brand, which was the protein brand, we realized that sometimes quality doesn't matter. Sometimes it's just the price. And with Meltz, it was a little bit different because Meltz was a trending product. What we did was from the outset, we decided that we're not only going to target the trend pistachio or the trend of hazelnut, we're going to come up with something different. And I think we were the first company in the world that came up with 9 different flavors of Dubai chocolate comparative to anyone else. And I think that just gave us the edge over the others, and it allowed us to ensure that, we have a strong footing in the business.
So was it 9 flavors right off the bat, or it was like a few flavors you launched initially up front?
No, it was 9 flavors at the outset. So to give you, like, for example, time frames, I didn't know Dubai chocolate, to be totally honest. I didn't know anything up until probably July of 2024. And I got my team to work on it. So again, I was very fortunate. I had a very good team. I had a very good design team. And basically, I think by the end of October, we had already come up with a product name, product uh, boxes, designs, everything was done. We'd already done sampling. We'd done everything that we needed to do. And we were ready to launch. And we launched, I think, with the first batch, we launched 9 flavors straight out.
And that's a very interesting point you mentioned. Like from July to October, that's let's say around six-ish months, 5-6 months. Like that is also an example of how it's different to, let's say, a trading model where you're just doing a lot of buying and selling, buying and selling. It's like quick hits basically. But here you're actually taking the time to build something, and it's not going to be an overnight success per se.
Absolutely. I mean, I can give you the first brand I ever built in my life was Okashi. That was the first brand. It was built in COVID. It launched in September of 2021. So you're looking at, it took us 18 months before we launched the product. And that was my first experience of launching. I mean, if I go back in history, my parents, grandparents, they've always been doing own branded private label products, but their experience different to what we've got to experience. And I think the times were different then. We're in a more digital world. It's more fast paced. And today a product on the shelf is as good as its marketing. In the olden days, it probably wasn't so much so, but today, if your product lacks marketing, it's not going to be on the shelf for much longer.
100%, 100%. And maybe talk us through, like, I guess, for people that have not heard of Meltz, like where Meltz is right now compared to October 2024, kind of what some of the success you guys have seen.
Yeah, so Meltz, when we first started, I didn't think much of it, to be totally honest. I thought, you know what, we're going to get a couple, maybe if we get to 1 million bars, we're going to do good. But when we started, we launched in the UK first, but that's my home market. We launched in Australia, New Zealand, as a second market, and I got comfortable. Let's put it that way, because the UK, we were doing comfortably around 200,000 bars a week. And it was a big market for us, even Ireland, Netherlands as being another home country. And Europe was pretty much big for us, Austria, Germany. And I think for the best part of 2025, we won the #1 brand in 6 countries. And we've grown. I mean, today we are almost in about 48 countries now as a brand. Our portfolio is not the same as we first started. Our portfolio has diversified quite a lot, and we're continuing to innovate in products. We're moving from, let's say, the high sugar element of Dubai chocolate to the more healthier versions of the Dubai chocolate, the more healthier version of products that can be in the market. The other thing is that because we're based in the UAE, we wanted to bring UAE and highlight UAE as a hub. Today, when you look at chocolates, you still look at France, or you look at Belgium, you look at Switzerland, and we really wanted Dubai to be out there as a country from the desert that's basically come out and is shining as the chocolate manufacturer. That's what we really wanted to achieve. And today, when we look at it, I think we're proud of the achievements we've made. We've smashed the 1 million bars. I think it was probably by Feb 25. And yeah, we've not looked back since then. So for us, I think it's been an incredible journey. It's been a very exciting journey. And along the way, we've learned a lot. We've learned a lot about manufacturing, the flaws of manufacturing, the flaws of shipping, and a lot of things that have come our way.
Definitely, because with chocolate, especially because it's you need to ship it in a refrigerated sort of element of it. But let's say you're like you're a founder, you're in the mid-20s, you want to start a chocolate brand. I guess on the manufacturing side, what would be some of the things that you would say that, let's say, a 25-year-old chocolate brand founder needs to really like look at before he goes and places a purchase order and spends a bunch of money into it, basically?
I would always say, you know what, always go for contract manufacturing at the start. Don't risk it, because I would say confectionery is a very versatile business. It's also a very challenging business. And the reason I say that is because you're always going to be competing against your Mars, Snickers, Bounty, Twix. You always will be competing against your celebrations. There is no two ways about it, because ultimately a customer has trust in those brands because they've been there for many years. So if I was in my piece now, and if I was to say, you know what do I do? I would say contract manufacture first. Look at what are you trying to achieve? There's always, every entrepreneur has something in their mind that they want to achieve. Always look at what your end goal is. What is your end result? And work backwards. Don't work forward, because we get caught up quite easily in today's day and world of, we have social media, we have TikTok, people are trending this, people are trending that. Let me get onto this trend and get onto that trend. Always remember, when you make a product, look at the shelf life of that product and look at where do you want to see that product. Don't go after a trend, because a trend is boom and bust. Before it happens, you will not even see it coming, and you end up losing a lot of money. Build a brand, take your time. Don't be impatient. Don't rush. Always take your time and look at your market. And there is no harm in creating a product, sampling it out for free, giving your time up for free, because that feedback that you get is going to be valuable in shaping you as a person, but also shaping your thought process and your brand for the future.
Definitely. And you mentioned a very interesting part. You said competition piece, of course. Now, with Dubai chocolate, at this point, as I'm sure you know, like there's a lot of brands that have launched constantly throughout 2025 and 2026. But Meltz is still seeing consistent success throughout it all. Like, what is the reason why you guys have been able to stand out compared to brands that have come and gone already at this point that are trying out Dubai chocolate?
I think the thing is, I always had the question from customers, why Meltz? Why not a turkey product? And my common thing to them was, Meltz is Meltz. A Turkish product will always be a Turkish product. There will never be Meltz, and we will never be a Turkish product. So I think what we've done is we've stood our ground. We stood our ground to say, we've given you top quality. We tell all our customers, take the product, try it, don't like it, give it back to us. Happy to take it back, no issues. Or take a like-minded product, or a product that's similar in category, take it, try it, and give us your feedback, no issues. We've never been afraid. We've never put any pressure on any of our distributors that we've allocated on any sales targets. Most of our distributors today don't have a sales target associated with them, number one. Number two, we've always invested in R&D. So to give you a funny story of a brand, I won't mention names, we launched so we were being accused of copying a particular brand from flavors point of view and not giving them recognition. But funny enough, we came up with a popping candy flavor, which was a passion fruit with popping candy, kind of reminding you of your childhood. We launched it in April. And funny enough, the brand launched it in July after us. And obviously, we knew that We knew one thing. We're not going to sit here and complain. What we knew is we set the benchmark, and when we set the benchmark, people are following us, and that's why we have seen a tremendous success, because we've always thought forward. We've never said, you know what, this is what our competition is doing. We need to do what they're doing, or we need to do a little bit better than them. We've always thought differently. So if you, for example, you look at where we are today as Meltz started off with Dubai chocolate, standard 192-gram sizes. Today, Meltz has almost about 62 SKUs in its portfolio, ranging from different sizes like 75 grams, 15 grams, 100 grams. We offer a zero sugar, it's no added sugar. We offer the first Dubai chocolate protein bar in 50 grams, which comes in like 10 different flavors, which again, nobody's doing. You can buy a Dubai chocolate protein bar. It's going to be powder format. Ours is still liquid format. And now we've come up with waffles. We've come up with oat pots. We're coming up with healthy oats. And we're coming up with a vegan product as well. We're using vegan gelatin to make up Sour Patch dates. So again, Sour Patch is an American trend, but we're coming up with Sour Patch dates. So we're trying to make the whole concept of moving away from just being a Dubai chocolate brand. We're trying to be an everyday on your shelf kind of brand. And I think that's where a lot of factories, a lot of brands have kind of like, they've stayed the Dubai chocolate route. They want to maximize and profit from what they're doing, which is great. I mean, there's still plenty of opportunity out there in the market for Dubai chocolate. Would Dubai chocolate die? Probably not. Would it slow down? For sure, yes. But you will see. I mean, you've got marshmallow dips coming up. You've got different versions coming out, and it'll keep evolving. But we as Meltz like to be different. We don't want to be evolving and chasing the crowd. We want to be different and sit in our own league where nobody can then compete with us, because today I can assure you 100% there is no brand that can meet the quality of our Meltz protein in this market at the moment.
Definitely. I mean, that's the reason why I guess, you went past 1 million bars in, I think you said Feb of last year. And then it's like, even though the Dubai chocolate trend may be kind of stabilizing or going down, but there's other products that keep kind of pushing that up. I guess like bars wise, like how many bars would you say you guys have crossed by now? Would it be approximately?
I would probably say we're well past the 12 million figure.
Wow. That's amazing. That's amazing.
Yeah. And obviously right now we've also launched the 15 grams. So the 15 grams are your quick kiosk checkout, no added sugar. So people who are diabetic, who want to have tasted the Dubai chocolate, they can. Those usually, they go out hundreds of thousands per shipment. So, I mean, right now, if we look at the figures from today onwards, or from say the start of the year, they'll be a little bit overinflated, because the true figures of what we had before were the solid 192 original bars, which were, the heavy, high fat, high chocolate, high sugar kind of products.
Definitely. And then on the marketing strategy side, I guess, what was that initial what was the initial kind of marketing you guys used to kind of launch the brand? If you kind of walk us through that.
I think I was quite lucky, actually. I already had a design team in-house. And like I said to you, from July to October, there was a lot of brainstorming going on about what we wanted to do. And, I think the biggest plus point for us was the design team was very, very clued up to what my vision was. And I think their expertise really helped us make Meltz as a popular product. With the way our boxes were designed, the way our entire ecosystem was designed, we didn't have to do much marketing. The product just sold by itself. For me, it's just two things. It is, you need to make sure your product is visible when it's amongst the crowd. And the second most important thing is your quality needs to speak volumes for what you're doing. Because time and again, you have fantastic looking products on the shelf that the taste disappoints, or you have average looking products on the shelf and the product is outstanding. And I think we've met the right balance between the two.
Definitely. I mean, I can vouch for myself. I've tried Meltz myself, and like one of hands down, like one of the best Dubai chocolate. The quality, the texture, everything. I mean, you guys nailed it for sure. So I can personally vouch for it as well.
Thank you.
Yeah. I guess from a perspective of looking back, at from July 2024 all the way up till now, I guess if you had to change something about your strategy, or maybe looking back, I guess something that you could have changed that could have even and of course you've sold 12 million bars. That's insane. But, what would you be looking back? What would be some of the things that you would have avoided doing that maybe you did?
I think the biggest mistake we made, and it's something that I think many entrepreneurs do, don't get comfortable with one market. I think that's the biggest thing. I got very comfortable with UK, Ireland being number one in there, being number one in Austria, being number one in Lithuania, Latvia. I got complacent and I ignored the rest of the world. I think that is the biggest mistake that I did make, because when we were FSA, which is a food standard agency, when we were scrutinized by the FSA, one thing that they told us really hit hard. And they said to us that you're the biggest brand for Dubai chocolate by far in the UK and Europe. You need to lead by example, and we're going to pull you up first for scrutiny. And once you are set, everybody else will follow suit. And I think that really hit hard, because we didn't know how big we were until we got told by two different organizations, one in the UK, one in the Netherlands, that manages food, to basically tell us, look, your labeling needs to be fixed. Otherwise we'll blacklist you. And I think a lot of companies were unfortunately blacklisted from selling in a lot of countries. We were very fortunate that we didn't. And I think that's something I would have liked to have done preset in July to October when we were doing the labeling. I think that's something I should have done and paid more attention to. And also, I should have not left the world. I should have focused on the other parts of the world, which we left at. But I mean, never to say we didn't. We kind of learned our lesson. July, August, we started to branch out. And yeah, as a brand, again, we're number one in Chile, in Argentina. We started taking number one places in most countries. And you kind of learn from your mistake. But these are mistakes, if I could have avoided, today Meltz would have been, give and take, probably hitting the 20 mil bar aspect. And at a point in time, with the figures I'm giving you, at one point, we were selling more than Cadbury Dairy Milk in the UK for a good 1 month.
Wow. That's amazing. That's amazing. So I know you mentioned, of course, you're in 48 countries right now. I guess, what would you say was the difference between a country working out really well, where the response was amazing for Melts, maybe where the response was okay, but it was a bit more lukewarm? I guess, what was the difference that you felt? Was it a distributor digging, or I guess, what would you kind of say?
I think the most important thing is, look, we as I always say, as a manufacturer, you cannot be a distributor, right? You can either be one, you cannot be both. So what we did was, we found that the distributors are the ones that make a big difference, and you need to have the right distributors. The distributor we had, say in the UK, or in Argentina, they were pretty big. Whereas if I look at the distributor that I had in, say, New Zealand, he was pretty small. He wasn't there, there or thereabouts. Whereas in Australia, we had 4 different distributors. So I think what's really different is your distribution model. You need to have a single distributor, not multiple distributors in a particular country. That really makes a big difference, number one. And number two, you need to have a lot of insight into what your distributors are doing. A lot of distributors promise the world, we can do this, we can do that, and they fail. And you need to understand that you should be prepared if they do fail, because it doesn't speak volumes about your product. It speaks volumes about your choice in choosing your distributor. So as long as you believe in your product, that you will always resonate. And we had that in Australia, where we had one single distributor. They decided to go to a Turkish alternative, so we lost sales in Australia. And then we've now got 4 distributors in Australia that are managing it perfectly, and they're not touching each other's territories. So you've got somebody in Sydney, somebody in Melbourne, somebody in Brisbane, somebody in Adelaide, and they're happy with doing what they're doing. Whereas if you look at a country like Argentina, there's a single distributor that manages both protein, non-protein, dates. They manage everything. So I think your distribution plays the most important role. And always, whenever you're choosing a distributor, never put them under pressure. Because the moment you put your distributor under pressure, your distributor will back up, and your distributor will never, ever kind of put in the effort. I know it's very strange that I say that, but I have been on the other side as well, where distribution always involves putting pressure on your distributor. Like, we get pressure from Mars. Why aren't you selling this? Why aren't you hitting this? Why aren't you hitting that? And then, you, after maybe 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 years, you reach a burnout phase. And then you're like, you know what? I don't need this brand anymore. I want to do something different. So don't ever get yourself in that burnout phase, and don't ever put your distributors in a burnout phase, because if you're more approachable, you're more flexible, you as a brand can evolve, develop, and grow because you've got time and you've got the support of your distributors as well.
Definitely. That's a very interesting point because the industry standard is that let's just put a bunch of pressure on the distributor so that they can sell more, sell more, sell more. But I love that you'd kind of flip that on its head per se. And then also, would you, I guess, let's say you're, a new founder, you've had some success, you're looking at distributors in different countries. Like, how do I differentiate between who is a good distributor, and who's just, maybe talking bullshit or is trying to like give me the runaround? So how do I kind of differentiate me being like, say, a young founder or whatever?
I think the most important thing is you need to speak to people. It's about understanding what people say. A lot of people will come out and say, I like the product, I'm interested in the product, and I want to be a distributor. Don't jump to sign distribution agreements, because you know what? It's not a certificate that you're going to keep on your wall. At the end of the day, as a founder, you have invested your time, your time, your family time. You've invested a lot of effort in getting the product to the market, or getting the product from start to finish, or R&D. Always remember one thing: a distributor that is passionate about your product will come to you. You don't need to go to that person. If you happen to have, say, a person that you really like and you're intrigued and you want to kind of give them a distribution agreement, just take a step back and think. If they don't perform, what is your plan B option? And if they do perform, what is your plan C option? Because you always need to have a plan, whether your distributor is doing well or not. The reason why I say you need to have a plan is because it's very important. The distributor represents you as a brand. It represents you as an individual. Today, if there's any flaws, like for example, we've had with Meltz where our distributor didn't follow certain processes, it reflects bad on you as a brand and you as a founder. So it's very important to look at, if each company, that before you look at distributorship, think hard, speak to a few people in the country, do some own research. I mean, today you've got AI tools, you've got Google that kind of, gives you a lot of information, a lot of marketing agencies out there that are able to support you, or look at influencers in those particular markets, and understand, is my distributor telling me the truth? Does my distributor have that sort of connections? Does my distributor know the market? Because a lot of times you will see there will be telltale signs where a distributor is not strong in a market. If they're kind of like ready to sign and ready to put a 3-year clause and all of that stuff, you need to understand that those are red flags.
Yeah. Yeah.
There are red flags. And I can give you an example. There's a very popular company out of India called Windmill. Windmill is a very, it's young guy. I mean, let me put it this way. I mean, we're all young here, but younger than me. He's in his 24, 25. He signed a distribution agreement with somebody for the whole of South America and the whole of North America. I asked him a simple question: how many have you sold? 0. Why did you sign it? Because I was too excited. And I said, what were you expecting? He goes, I want to prove to my dad that I'm a good entrepreneur and that I can sell good volumes. I said, so did you plaster the distribution agreement on the wall? And he said, I kind of did when I got it first. A mistake like that has ended up costing him the entire market, number one, and he has lost approximately, let's call it 16 months. 16 months of his time has gone with his product not being, and he has an A-class product.
And that's North and South America, both that he gave, basically.
Yeah.
Wow. I mean, I think that's golden advice for someone that's, has a new brand. They're looking to branch out in new markets because, yeah, as you mentioned, the wrong distributor can set you back, but even the right distributor can actually, I'm guessing, 5x your growth or 10x your growth per se as well. Yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, they can help you get from a brand zero to a brand hero. And whenever somebody tells you that I started my brand with 0, it's not. No brand ever starts with 0. Always understand the value of you as an entrepreneur, you as a founder. You have more value, and your value is not 0.
Yeah, definitely. And I'm guessing, as you mentioned, of course, that with Meltz, Dubai Chocolate, you guys have branched out from there as such, different products. But I guess 5 years from now, kind of where do you see the brand evolving? Is it new markets, new products? Kind of what's the vision for the brand 5 years from now?
I think as a brand, we will still be here. We're not a hit and Go brand. We've invested in IPs and we continue to create everyday products. So we'll still be here. I mean, I would say we can't go anywhere now because we own the factories. We've stopped outsourcing. I think as of March 2025, we stopped outsourcing. So we own a lot of we own the 2 factories and semi of the 3rd. And we're here to stay and we have to basically make it work. A factory is a cost. I have to make new products. I have to innovate and I have to be there. I'm not one that's gonna, build a brand and let it go. It's just not something that works. It works for us.
Definitely. And over there, I guess for someone that's, let's say they're scaling, they're growing, I guess, when would you say is the right time to start thinking about your own factory compared to contract manufacturing? Like, is there a specific point that you recommend for young founders to look at?
There is no right point. You need to do the finances. At the end of the day, owning a factory is not an easy thing. I guess people, I can understand. I'm from the UK of Indian origin, and most of the workers you have here are Arabs from, say, Syria or Yemen, whose English is not their first language. So you have to understand that when you get into factoring, I mean, I'm talking exclusively on food. There could be a different segment or a different sector which has a different demographic of staff. You have to understand that these are going to be challenges that are going to be there. And again, the maths needs to make sense. The reason why we decided to own them outright was because we hit our target for the year within 2 months. And we believed that if we wanted to innovate, we couldn't contract manufacture because they're not going to produce only for us. They're going to basically produce for other people. If we have any particular ideas and if we have anything, it can be stolen quite easily. And before it goes into, let's call it the finished product, it might just be with everybody else. So we kind of made that conscious decision and we didn't go buy 2, 3, 4, and we didn't start from scratch. We basically bought an existing factory and we basically made sure that, we're in full control of it.
That's amazing. That's amazing. No, Mohit, I mean, this is a great conversation and I wish you, all the best of luck from 12 million to 120 million to 1 billion bars, So but my last question from my end is, what would be your advice to an FMCG founder, in his mid-20s, they're looking to launch and scale a chocolate brand in today's world? Like, what would, I guess, be your final piece of advice to them?
I would say believe in yourself and believe in your product. That's the most important thing. Don't look at your competition. Your competition is nothing. As long as you believe in your product will sell. People sell to people. It's not your product, it's you. And the most important thing is, in the current climate that we're in, mitigate your risks, because it's very important to look at the climates that you're in. We're in uncharted territories at the moment for a lot of countries, a lot of parts of the world. But the most important thing is as long as you believe in your product, as long as you have the expertise, or if you don't have the expertise, gain the expertise from somebody, because you will need somebody with with a level head and enough experience to drive you through these times, because it's not easy. And I can tell you it is draining. It is hard. That's what makes an entrepreneur an entrepreneur. You're everything. Your accounting, your quality control, your manufacturing, you're everything. And you're the face of it. So ultimately, don't give up. Even if you fail, don't give up.
Definitely. And the time it is recording, I mean, of course, there's going on in the Middle East with the whole war situation, and the fact that you guys are still, chugging through and selling and all that. Kudos to all of you. So again, both appreciate it. Appreciate you coming on. This is great. Lastly, where can people find Meltz online, yourself online as well?
We're on Instagram. We're on meltzdubai.chocolate.com. We're on Instagram. In many countries, you'll find us in stores and in some of the larger stores. In some countries, it's done with our local distributors. So I guess, if you want to buy Meltz, please, just reach out to us on Instagram and we'll guide you to the perfect place to get your bite.
Perfect. Again, thanks a lot, Mohit. Really appreciate it.
Thank you so much. Nice to meet you. Thank you so much. Good luck with everything.